Hi, everyone. Welcome back to our podcast, No More Secrets. As always, I'm your Aunt, Mary Albrecht.
And I'm your niece, Katie Albrecht.
And I don't know why this guy's sitting here.
Who's he?
Welcome back, Travis. Thank you for being here. He's our producer. Yes.
Hi.
But he's also here because he had some ideas about what we want to talk about today. So
Yeah, we kind of did a brainstorming thing before this episode, and
I don't remember what we talked about. Ha ha.
which is funny.
Because
Our
Dun-dun-dun.
topic is about memories and how they affect us, and I don't know, just reflecting on old memories, basically.
I started thinking about school memories, and then you started talking about your very first memory. And then you said something deeper that I didn't listen to, but you said it would be good if you'd be on the podcast.
And I was like, oh, that's deep. You got to come on.
And I'm like, yeah, right. And so anyway, and so then we ended up getting out this book. And I think this is kind of interesting because this is the book you gave me that I had forgotten about.
Right.
You know, but it talks about the past, and it says you can't look at something without changing it. You can't look at yourself without changing. Maybe you can't change the past, but the way you remember it is never the same twice. Every time we remember something, we relive it from a different camera angle, which I actually didn't realize that, but that's probably true, right?
There's probably some similarities, though, because I feel like I when I'm looking back at these memories as we were talking about and stuff, they are similar to what I've thought before.
But a different camera angle. I don't know. We always reinvent our history to suit the present need.
Interesting.
Isn't that interesting? So anyway, they said, now let's do the opposite. Try to find new storylines in the fragments of your own history. Storylines that completely recreate your relationship to the present.
Okay,
What does that mean? Just try to remember it differently.
It's
Right?
Or remember other pieces of
It's
it,
like
of it
what-
that you haven't remembered before.
Or like what got you here, butterfly effect, like
Okay.
what like because
Like you think about the memory and then you think, how did that play out to where I am now?
and like if
Ooh, I
that
like that.
changed, like how different would it be right now for me?
Okay. I like it.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
'Cause-
recreate your relationship to the present.
Have you ever seen the movie Butterfly Effect?
Nope.
Okay. It's like what he was talking about, where
What is the butterfly effect?
it's like where your whole timeline of events happens, right? And then I think he went back in time and then changed one thing, and then it changed all these. He created a whole nother reality for himself because he changed one thing in his past.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Oh,
and it can
Creating
be
the
very
butterfly
insignificant or seem insignificant, but it completely can change.
Yeah,
the
like
course
walking a
of-
different way instead of going this way or something like that.
they have like books like that, right? Where they talk about if you had
Might
turned
have,
right
actually.
versus left or something.
And
Yeah.
have you ever seen Donnie Darko too?
I've heard of it. I haven't
touches
seen it.
on it a little bit. He has this like bubble aura that comes out of him that is like 10 meters in front of him at all times, and it's paving his path, and like it changes based on like his decision making.
Whoa,
Yeah.
that's really
Yeah.
cool.
But
Ugh.
yeah, there's a whole theory about that. Yeah.
All right.
It is interesting.
Well, so then the first question they ask with this trying to recreate, your past to, completely recreate your relationship to the present by remembering the past differently. So my earliest memory, they ask, what's your earliest memory? And that's what you had started with, like the very first time. And I can't think of anything, I mean, there's nothing
Something has
really.
gotta be a first,
It's
though.
got to be really memorable, right?
But
I mean,
like, what's your most tangible first memory? Like, something's got to be first.
yeah,
There's got to be something.
well, there's got to be
first.
something. Yeah, I don't know. Somebody else go.
It doesn't have to be like when you were in high school or when
No.
you were a kid, or it could even be when you were in college or whatever. You've definitely remembered stuff from
You
high
have to
school
have a
age.
first, like, tangible, like, snapshot in your head of something.
And we can go first if you want.
Yes.
Okay, so my first memory, I actually don't know if it's one, or I have like a few memories that are around the same time that are like probably one of them is the first. I just don't know which one. One of them is I was at my old house in Franklin, Wisconsin, and my mom hands me a whole cucumber, and I remember taking just a big old bite out of this huge ass cucumber when I'm like 3 years old or something like that, and she claims that she doesn't remember this, but I'm like, this is a very vivid picture to me. This is memory to me, you know? Like, it's still weird to me to this day that I would have done that, but...
Did you eat more than the one big bite?
All I remember is one bite. And you know, kids, they take a bite of something and hand it, like, put it down or whatever.
Maybe it was a dream.
It's possible. Or, I mean, you were saying that it's possible that she just thought it was insignificant, whereas I thought it was, like, a big deal that I got a full cucumber instead of getting, like, little slices or something, you know? Like, so maybe it's just because she doesn't remember it doesn't mean it didn't happen.
So it means you ate the skin, too.
It does.
Ugh.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Do you not eat the skin on...
Cucumbers, I don't care for the skin. I eat the skin
Really?
on a lot of things, but that, for some reason, it's always been kind of bitter or something to me.
Oh.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
You probably can't get all the chemicals off of it from farming.
There you
Yeah.
go. What about yours, Travis?
Yeah, it definitely is like around 5. There's a couple. I don't know which one's like earliest. That's when I get jumbled up, but
Right.
I do remember like moving from our townhouse in South Milwaukee, and my bird Petrie was next to me in our car in the cage. Like I had a bird.
Do you remember the emotions of that? Like, do you remember loving your bird or just like...
I was confused and probably worried about, because birds are very fragile.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So maybe that's what I was like. I was just very confused. Like, why are we leaving? You know, like when you're like younger than 5, moving is kind of a foreign concept. Because like I've been here all my life, which is like 4 years.
Yeah.
It's like,
It's like, but geez.
Can't imagine moving. What the heck?
Yeah. I had a similar one with that. Like, we were moving to our new house, and I packed up a little suitcase that was probably about this big, but it felt huge back then. And I just put a little stuffed animal in there and maybe a blanket or something. And I'm like, all right, I'm ready to move. I came downstairs and said that to my parents.
And you weren't moving that day.
And yeah, and I think they're like, oh, we're not today. And you can pack more things than that, you know? And that's among some of the first, but I was definitely sad to leave that house because I had a good friend that lived down the street, and like you said, it's like it's your whole life.
Yeah.
When you're young, it's hard to comprehend that.
I actually remember. I mean, how old are you when you usually learn to ride a bike? Like, what's a good age for that?
6 to 8, 6 to 9.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah.
There's a range. Some people are later, some people are earlier.
I mean, with like training wheels, probably like 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting a flash of riding my first bike in
And that's
Milwaukee.
as simple it could be as like
Yeah.
just
It's
a
a flash.
snapshot. Yeah.
And then I think I was only 4 when I had that bubblegum story. So maybe that was my first, like, real, because it was really impactful. Where,
Tell us about the bubblegum.
yeah.
Mary.
So,
Your record of crime.
yes, exactly. In fact, later on, we're going to ask questions. Did you ever steal anything? And, well, yes, I did when I was 4.
Spoiler alert.
We went to a Stop and Go in Milwaukee, which was like a, convenience store. And I begged my mom for a piece of double bubble gum, those little, like, and she said, no. She kept saying no. And so I took it. And I just thought I got away with it. I was so happy. So I got into the back of the station wagon thinking nobody can see me, not thinking about a rear view mirror, right? And I'm just in the back blowing bubbles, doing all this. And my mom looks in the rear view mirror and can see her eyes. Mary Beth, where did you get that gum? Did you take that gum? And she was really angry with me. And I remember just feeling like, I'm going to go to jail. And but to her credit, she turned around, went back to the Stop and Go, and made me go in and talk to the cashier. Little 4-year-old, Mister, I stole the piece of gum. I can't give it back, but I can pay for it. And I gave him a penny.
Should have offered to give it back. If you like it, I can give it to you.
I'll wrap it back up. I have the wrapper.
I'll even pay you for it.
But I remember that really, really clearly, and just thinking, oh my God, I'm a terrible person. I've got a criminal record. I mean, and it wasn't those words at the time, but that's how it felt.
It's probably the emotions.
Yeah, like, oh, my mom's never going to trust me again kind of thing, you know.
I mean, do you think we remember emotions more than the actual thing?
How it felt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How the situation felt versus than the actual situation or whatever.
I had a therapist that said that to me all the time. That said, well, you remember it that way because that's how it felt. And it doesn't really matter if it happened exactly that way or not, because it's your emotions that matter.
Your
Like
perspective through it, yeah.
Yeah, when you're trying to improve your mental health. So
and physiologically, I read this in a book. So the way memories work, it's not really like a storage. Like, you can never store that much data in your head. So the reason why like emotions and sensory input is really important for making memories is because your synapses are just recreating that same path to create like a representation in your mind of that memory again. So it's literally like sparking a bunch of synapses in order to try to match what that original experience was. So you're actually you're literally like reliving that experience in your head,
recreating.
Yeah, because your brain is setting up all the synapses to fire in this exact same order or similar to.
And what causes these synapses? Is there like different stuff with it? Because I know that smell is a big force for memory or something like that. Like if you recognize a certain scent, like if you smell a perfume of your ex or something, you
cut grass for me. That's nostalgia immediately for me.
Lilacs is one for me because I remember, this is another early memory. I remember a lilac bush or tree or whatever they are in my old house backyard, and going back and smelling it and thinking that was such a treat.
Yeah,
back then.
And notice that it's reminding you of a feeling and not just like
it is
visual or anything.
It's a good feeling, yeah.
Yeah.
That I liked going back and smelling the lilacs.
Yeah.
So how can we do this game that they're talking about, how we take this, try to find new storylines in the fragments of your own history? Like, how would that bubblegum thing... I mean, I never stole again. I guess that's good.
So maybe the butterfly effect, if you did not steal that day, maybe you would have stolen like a car or something in your
or
future.
if I hadn't gotten...
Didn't get it like,
or if I hadn't gotten... Or if I hadn't gotten caught, I might have been like, "Hey, I could be a thief now, like professional."
Yeah, and the repercussions were nothing. So why would I stop?
Yeah. What about? Oh, it's Sarah.
Oh, funny.
Yeah,
hey, Sarah.
She's probably listening to this.
I don't know if she's on TikTok or not.
She's calling in and be like, "My earliest memory."
Yeah, I think actually she said she was going to call between 2 and 3 her time.
Okay.
So that's probably this time, right? Anyway, but let's move on. Let's talk about, as a child, I dreamed of becoming.
There's a bunch of different ways, because usually when it's like a job.
Usually like a career, yeah.
Right. I think I wanted to be a teacher, but I didn't actually want to be a teacher. I just liked my second grade teacher, so then I was like, okay, I want to be like you. You know?
Okay.
I didn't actually like the profession at all.
Okay. Did you, I mean, I didn't really even have dreams of becoming anything. I was just trying to get out of that house, you know?
Yeah.
But in college, I thought I would do an international business career because I was really good with, I got a business degree, and I was good in Spanish and French. So like I would, be able to translate, for people, that go overseas and translate or do something, like that, or just deal with just a company that's also overseas, but you can speak the language, so it helps, And that just ended up being completely opposite of that. Anything I wanted to do. I just thought I would impress Dad,
Yeah, so you go for like the big corporate job kind of thing.
Right. How about you, Travis?
Firefighter?
No, actually...
Stereotyping young boys, I guess.
No, I wanted to be an archaeologist for the longest time.
Okay.
That is cool, though.
Yeah. Just because, I don't know why exactly. I think I was just really interested in, like, Egypt and stuff.
I mean, it is cool to uncover old fossils and stuff. I mean...
I might have been, like, I'm not much of a fan of Indiana Jones now, but I might have been. Or maybe Mummy. Maybe I was really interested in Mummy.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's kind of that time period. But
Brendan
I was
Fraser,
like, yeah,
baby.
I get to carry a gun and like fight mummies and shit. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I grew up and found out that it's
not-
really actually really boring. I mean, it's exciting if you find something, but
But
otherwise
yeah.
it's you're
all the
just
way leading up to that, yeah.
You're
you're
just
cataloging stuff and
Yeah, you're just digging holes.
yeah, and like I feel like everything discovered that's worth discovering has already been discovered. So
Okay,
like,
yeah.
That's possible. There
Yeah.
might still be stuff out there, but it's hard.
but that's
it
the
would be
thing,
hard
like
to
the
find
stuff
it,
that
yeah.
is out there, like if you discover it, it's huge news now. But
Right.
yeah, that's what I wanted to do for a long time.
I wanted to be an astronaut at some point in my life because I thought space was cool.
Yeah.
Space is cool.
It is very cool. I probably wouldn't go to space. I know that that's starting to become an option, which is crazy. But because I think
You're
I'd
gonna
actually
change
be
your
too.
mind in probably 30 years.
That's possible.
Yeah.
And if it gets to the point like where it feels safe and everything to go, then yeah, I would do it. But I thought just the idea of going to space would be like fucking awesome. Seeing the world with your own eyes.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
But I'm now old and scared of everything. So it's different.
So old, yeah. Can you see, is Dunkel awake?
No, I can't see. Oh yeah, he's just kind of looking around.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh,
Nice.
he's probably wondering where I am. I'll have to go get him. I will in a little bit.
He's existing like he usually is.
He's existing.
When I look into the past, the thing I miss the most.
No bills.
Can you miss something that isn't?
Okay, sorry, bill free. I think just I miss being able to play, and that's what you do all day.
All the
Yeah.
time.
And you're just
Yeah.
allowed to
Your
have
job.
you're allowed to have an imagination. You go out into I loved going into like little patches of woods and pretending it was a clubhouse. You know, like I miss that where you can just explore, and I could be in the pool all day at Grandpa's house and no one like questions it or
Yeah,
anything.
yeah.
And you just
No
Like-
anxiety.
you just
nowhere
exist.
else to be.
You just
Yeah.
exist, and you get to play with your imagination and whatever's in front of you. I think
Mm-hmm.
is what I miss the most of childhood. What about you?
Oh, well, it just says when I look into the past. I don't think it has to be childhood necessarily, right?
No.
Because, of course, I'm going to
But
say,
that's what I think of when I
yeah, I would
look
say
into the past.
definitely say Terry. You know, that's one of them.
Yeah.
That's recent past. But I have a little plaque out there that says, this whole grown-up thing has been fun, but I have to go now. 'Cause, you know, you just like, I was with the attorney for Terry's estate this week, and it's like, I said to him, I don't want to be a grown-up anymore. I just did this with Dad. Now I got to go and get titles and go to the DMV and do, you know, all this shit that you don't want to do, but you got to do it, you know, because otherwise you can't do it. You can't move
don't
forward. You got to
exist.
close the accounts. You got to send death certificates. You got to get things sold unless you want to have 25 vehicles, you know, and so. And it's just drudgery. And I'm like, I don't want to be a grown-up anymore.
Right.
He laughed. He thought that was funny because an attorney probably loves being a grown-up. They're very serious. Like this particular one, I mean, he's very, very nice, but he's also very grown-up.
They're like in their element.
And when
kinda
they're in
thing.
their element,
Yeah.
especially, yeah. And so I said, I don't want to do this. And he goes, well, you're going to have to.
Yeah, that's always hard.
How about you, Travis?
What was the prompt again?
When I look into the past, the thing I miss the most.
Which I guess the past could be yesterday too. So if you miss something from yesterday, that could also be included in it.
I miss Cindy and John.
I know.
We had cousins
Haley.
here. And Haley, yes, of course.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I miss like. Like the feeling that everything's new. Like, I don't know, just constant like stimuli, and I don't know, and things were a little. Always like everyone always says things were a little more simple back then. I think that's anyone's childhood.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
if I could choose to go back in time to any time period, it would probably be the 90s to 2000. Well, probably the 90s to 2000s. Yeah.
You know, that just reminded me. I miss Christmases growing up.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
miss being a kid at Christmas.
I miss going to the malls.
Even
in
at
Christmas
your
back
house?
then.
Yeah, when I was a little kid. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And that's when my dad was he had good moments because he would put on like scavenger hunts.
Sure, yeah, he
us.
had a lot of fun.
Yeah, like the
he was good at that.
competitiveness,
Yep.
we would have fun that way, and like he would do scavenger hunts to find little presents and stuff, and I always thought that was so great. And the whole waiting for Santa, you know, that just screams 90s to me. I feel like I'm in the 90s when I think of like being a kid on Christmas.
Yeah,
you
it
know?
feels like snow days were different.
Snow days were awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
Feels
I
like
love those.
school was different back then.
Well, what about
Definitely is.
you know, not having the internet? I mean, do you guys even you were right on the
yeah.
cusp of that, right? Of not
Yeah.
having
Our
that.
childhood was internet free, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Up until late elementary school,
Okay.
Yeah, I would say middle school is when I started like
being more
dabbling in the internet.
like on my own. Yeah, we would do it
Yeah.
at school a little bit.
That's
but
why I really wanted to get a PSP, PlayStation Portable, because that
Oh,
was
yeah,
like
I
the
remember
first,
those.
that was the first like portable
those.
thing that had internet on it.
Oh,
or
and-
one of the first things that was accessible to like kids.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I remember when those came out, and we were never had enough money to
Yeah.
get them, you know.
I had to
But
save up for that myself.
right,
A lot of babysitting. But
Yeah.
yeah, I would say that just like just like the time period in general is what I miss. That feeling is different.
it is because everyone's so connected, and now where I feel like you could kind of disconnect
Yeah.
and still exist.
Ignorance was
and
definitely
life was
bliss.
still good, and yeah, all
Yeah,
that.
and like the worst things that were to happen were in your direct vicinity or your direct like community. Like you don't hear about like
The
wars
world
going on
problems.
or any of that.
And there were still
crap.
world problems.
But we
yeah,
didn't,
but you
yeah.
just
didn't-
not in your sphere of reality.
Right, so then
Yep.
it's less stress and
Yep.
all that.
But now we hear about everyone's everything
All the time, which makes it seem like it's a lot worse, but it
Yep.
probably is the
A lot of
same. We just
stimulus
didn't
for
hear.
people.
Yeah, now you just gotta either tune in or tune out on certain
Right.
things.
I'm gonna go get my dog, but
You don't want
Peop-
to tell us about your Christmases growing up? You
Nope.
didn't like them, right?
correct. People in people in history I admire.
In history?
Yeah.
That's like a hard question.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't
what
know
is
if I admire-
history?
well,
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I admire anyone.
Right? I mean, it's.
Like,
they
I don't
all are
know
just
anyone.
people. I can't think of anyone at
Yeah.
this like particular moment. Maybe Harry Styles because he's in current history. I mean, so I admire him. But that's all I can think about.
Yeah, that was a bad prompt. She leaves us with that.
I know. Okay, here's another one that's kind of similar to what we were just talking about. My childhood described in one word. What do you think? This is hard for me because I've had a lot of areas of childhood.
Yeah,
I've
that's
had
true.
trauma, I've had happiness, it's really hard to put it all into one.
Definitely be my word.
That's your childhood.
Yeah.
See, mine,
Okay. It's funny how I just leave the show.
Yeah, I gotta get my dog.
it happens.
Okay. Okay.
We just kind of got rid of the people that I admire in history.
Yeah, we didn't like that one.
We
No.
don't like people.
Yeah, like I
I don't
didn't
admire
meet
people.
anyone in history. I don't want to.
Yeah, people. I mean, yeah, you could say different presidents, I guess, or whatever. But do you really know, them?
And
yeah.
who really like is a fan club of a president,
Yeah.
you know?
I may even have to
If
take
they
him
are.
out. This is really becoming a
I
thing.
would say one word would be blissful, because when I say ignorance is bliss, it was blissful for I don't know. It's just like a dream for me.
I can understand that.
Stressful.
Is there a word that describes stressful and also sometimes happy?
Is melancholy fit?
Or
That's kind of sad. I
or just
think.
mixed or
um
extremes. How's that?
Stimulated.
bipolar.
There you
Yeah.
go.
It was bipolar. That works. Yeah, because there was good and there was bad. So
That next page is interesting. If you want to read the little blurb there.
wait, can I read this posters I had on my wall
Oh,
growing up
okay,
first?
sure,
Because
whatever,
this is
yeah.
important. Did you have posters on your wall? You weren't allowed, were you?
Yeah, no. We didn't have posters.
I didn't really have posters on my wall, but I definitely had like signs that people made me. Like if they made me a sports locker sign, I would hang that up. Or if people made me a birthday card, I would hang that up or like something like that. Just because I I didn't know how to have taste back then. I just clung on to memories, basically, which is funny that we're talking about that.
Yeah.
I just didn't have enough time to like figure out what I liked.
Mm-hmm.
So, which is kind of interesting.
Right.
Did you have posters?
Yeah.
You
that
seem like a poster guy.
No, that just unlocked a memory of mine. It was not like I didn't have a lot, but I did. Like, there's a period of time where these felted, like, neon colored posters started coming out, and they were activated by black light. Like, they really were vibrant with black light.
Yes, I've seen those.
I had one with a
Spencer?
dragon on it. And
Spencer Gifts. Do you
So
remember that?
I think that's where it came from.
I just remembered that
Yeah,
too.
they were a bunch rolled up, and
Yeah.
that does ring
and
a
that
bell.
was like the coolest thing ever. When I had friends over, they're like just in awe of. I don't know, black lights just became a thing for a little bit of time.
I remember that
and then
too. Yeah.
started sticking stars all over the
Oh,
walls
yeah.
and
I remember-
making constellations and stuff.
Some people had projector clocks,
Yeah,
which I
yeah.
thought was like so cool back then. you
Yeah.
know? Where you shoot a projector like onto the ceiling of a clock. Or
Yeah.
Something.
I had
Oh.
a clock like that too.
Did you?
What?
Yep.
I've never heard of that. Okay.
Yeah, it's just the time on the wall.
It's not. Yeah.
It's really not
you
that
might as well
exciting.
just have a movie playing. Or
It was,
something.
no, I think it was practical. Like, because
At night, yeah, I can see that.
I hit it and I just look at my wall and it's whatever
That's nice
time.
that it doesn't play all the time, so you can choose when you have it on there and stuff.
Okay, hold on. I got another memory that I really liked.
See, this is all coming.
Yeah,
it's,
this is
It's,
good.
the
I love-
synapses, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
they're not just stored in there.
Yeah, and
It's
Something
actually.
has
I don't
to
know-
trigger it. Yeah.
Yeah.
tangent. If you're ever looking at someone trying to recall something, this is like related to Amber Heard thing. You can tell if they're lying or not based on like what perspective they're putting themselves in. You know what I mean?
Explain. No.
So as someone's talking about a memory, like look where they're like looking. If they're looking up, side, like that's what I'm talking about. Like I'm recreating in my mind that experience. So when I'm looking somewhere, I'm looking at like a TV or an object or something. You know what I mean?
Like at. Okay.
Whatever you're
But-
seeing in your mind.
Or if somebody's
basically.
lying, they'll be on the. There'll be a camera. They'll be like they're looking as if they're a camera looking at themselves and the person. You know what I mean? Like they're looking at a scene that they're setting up in their mind rather than actually being
in that memory.
in your body looking at
Yes.
that, you know what I mean?
Okay, so
Yes.
Amber, we were going to touch on the Amber Heard thing because she.
Well, it was a
looked-
case of all of their own memories, I think, going at each other for this defamation thing.
But it didn't seem like she was in the memory. She
Yeah.
was actually creating it. She was
Yeah.
actually like
And her
like making a story.
And there was
line.
another
Or s-
one.
like a
Another thing that I noticed, and that was like dissected by other people, was that she would switch her tenses around. Like she would talk in present tense, and then she would talk in past tense. Whereas if you were telling the truth, it would probably be all consistent. you
one
know?
way or the
Yeah.
other. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would assume it'd be. Yeah, I would assume it'd be one or the other. I would think that it would be present tense, like because you're inserting yourself into that moment again.
I would think it'd be past tense.
Oh,
but I don't actually
interesting.
know I don't know the psychology behind it or whatever. But
Yeah.
you're thinking of it as of what happened in the past.
Yeah.
And so you're replaying it. Then if you're talking about it as in present tense, then it's more of a like, okay, I'm thinking of this now. I'm just coming up with it on the spot, and now I'm saying it.
Maybe
you know?
that like lends itself to like how people recall their memories. Like either they like
It's possible.
either they're playing a little movie in their head or they're actually reinserting themselves back into that situation. That'll determine if they're speaking past tense or present.
Well,
Yeah.
again, it goes back to what it felt like. So maybe for Amanda Heard, it really did feel as awful
Amber.
as she said. Oh, what did I say?
Amanda.
Oh, I like Amanda better.
Call her Amber Turd. That's what everyone's calling
That
her.
is the hashtag, yeah.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, she might actually believe it, and I think she does.
At least a lot of it.
It doesn't mean
yeah.
that it.
But my point is,
Right.
someone actually ran an AI like analyzer of like facial expressions, including like directions that they're pointing their eyes, if their eyebrows are raising or lowering, and like
Okay.
everything about the face that you can analyze in terms of like determining if somebody's like lying or not, or recalling memories correctly or not, and the difference between Amber Heard and Johnny Depp were like night and day. Like Johnny Depp was like looking, like when he's talking about the bottle, he's looking down, like he was like looking at things that weren't there, which
Like,
He was
meaning he
also-
was reliving it.
yeah.
He was also taking his time too. Like you could tell that he was like really thinking through all of the responses,
Yep.
and you could just it felt more genuine than what everything.
And
that
she
was
kept
saying.
looking at the jury too,
Oh.
right? She just like
Yeah.
kept like,
That was really annoying.
She was trying to implement this like pseudo psychology crap that like isn't real. Like, yeah, I feel like she was like I don't
almost
know
think her
who
lawyer
told her.
to do it or something.
my
yeah,
God.
like as a strategy, but it made her look insincere.
Yeah.
and she shouldn't have done that.
And I saw a TikTok, I don't know if it was a real juror, but he anonymously is saying to address that issue of her looking at me constantly when giving answers. He's like, I was so weirded out by it, I stopped looking at her and I just started listening without looking.
yeah, because
It's
her
weird.
her
Yeah.
body language was off.
Yeah,
It
and
was-
like imagine like the whole room of people and someone just keeps going like this to you as they're talking and this like super
Even though
important-
you're not the one asking the
yeah,
question.
and it's like what the
Yeah,
fuck are you
yeah,
saying?
right.
Like what are you looking at?
Right.
It's
you know?
one thing because I saw her sister on the stand, and I know this is all super tangent, but like when her sister went on the stand, she also looked at the jury, but she answered the lawyer first, and she seemed like she was more genuine. So she'd be like, "Oh, so Amber did this," and then she would kind of look over here as if she's talking to a room, but she wasn't like directly cutting over like Amber was.
Yeah.
It just felt like it was very forced.
Yeah.
And an act.
Yeah.
And then there's no like I can't imagine in her shoes why looking at the jury is gonna help anything. I don't.
Except for maybe not to look into the person's eyes and lie
Yeah.
or something. I
Or
don't
you're
know.
trying to make a connection with the jury that just backfired.
Yeah, no, she looked very insincere with that.
Yeah.
Her memories weren't real.
Yeah, but
Just
should
kidding.
look back at those videos and just see like the difference in storytelling between the two, and it's pretty night and day. But back to previous before the tangent, I have an old memory where going down the hallway at like 11 p.m. when my parents are watching like Whose Line Is It Anyway, and
I loved Whose Line Is It?
me standing in the hallway or sitting in the hallway sneakily, they probably knew I was there, and just watching when I should be sleeping.
Oh, that's
Awesome memory. Like,
and that's an adult show
Yeah.
technically, even though I watched it as a kid too. But I can
Yeah.
see why they didn't want you to listen to
Yeah.
it.
but there's like innuendos that like I didn't understand, but
Right.
yeah, I just wanted to be included.
There's worse things you could watch, yeah,
Yeah.
honestly. But no, that was a great show. Did you ever see that? It was an improv show.
Yeah, with
It was-
Drew Carey, Ryan Stiles,
Colin Mockery.
Wayne Brady.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
It was a really good show. I still watch clips of it to
Okay.
this day.
It's one of the best
Okay.
like improv shows that were ever on TV. I don't know if there were. Really
I think
any
so.
others.
There's not really a lot,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's definitely on at the top of it.
What about the science behind lie detector tests? You know,
I
that's
was thinking about that recently too.
Okay.
I feel like I'd love to try it. I feel like I could.
you could pass it.
Fake it.
Right.
Because what I think
something with the emotions, right?
Well, what I think you can do is like compartmentalize a character, so you play the character instead of speaking as yourself. Like, do you do this? And you just think this character wouldn't do it, so no. And I can easily say no, and I feel
And
like
you're-
I
and
wouldn't
you're-
have
you
any
wouldn't-
like physiological like change because that character like fits whatever like prerogative I want to reach. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I'd be the opposite, and I think I would set everything off because I'd
Yeah.
be so nervous. Like, just because of the anticipation of it, not even that I was lying. I think it's just my heart would already be, like, my anxiety would be going, so then it would, every single answer would be a lie or something like that. Even if I'm telling the truth. Is your name Katie? Yes. Lie. Like, I feel like it would just freak me out. I don't know. I don't do well in those kind of situations, but...
And then there's something with eye contact too. Like cops say they can tell when you're lying because you blink or you look away or something when you know. So were you at this place? And no, but it's a little more subtle than that.
Yeah, I think there's like a top level like lie detection that you can get from somebody's like facial expressions and stuff, but I
then
think it
there's-
really comes down to like if they're actually remembering, like they're like looking back into their memory versus like trying to make a scene in their head.
Yeah, I think that makes sense because there's definitely liars who have learned they don't make eye contact thing, so they make extra eye contact.
That
Right,
exactly.
right.
Yeah.
And then that's also not sincere, so they'll
Yep.
be like staring at you the whole time, telling you a bold-faced lie, and it just depends. I like the whole like however they present it is probably a good lie detection or something, but it's hard
We
to
should
say.
see if there's a lie detector in the area, and
Let's do it.
I really want to try to trip it up. I feel like I could. Or
Okay.
maybe there's an app for it.
That'd be interesting.
It probably is an app.
Oh, I'm sure there is now. Yeah.
Yeah, there's apps that like detect your vocal changes in like how you're speaking.
Did you want me to read this next page?
Yeah, I thought it was kind of a neat one,
This is
right?
the first, right?
Yeah.
Should I read this? I'm going to read this.
Yeah, the little blurb.
Okay, so the blurb says, "A first is like an earthquake of the soul," which you were kind of talking about this too, like new things. Unforgettable, unsustainable, and radically destructive. But out of the wreckage of our clumsy and passionate first comes a fabulous, interesting, and resilient adult individual. Our tragedy is that we always hope that the first time will last forever. So, who was everyone's first friend? Mine was Amy, who lived down the street, who I mentioned previously.
Lisa Shupp across the sidewalk in Milwaukee.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
neighbor friends.
Yeah.
That's the first one that I can remember.
Yeah.
I might have had some before then, but
I admired her so much. She was a year older. And then
Oh.
when you're that age, it's like, wow, you're so adult.
I think her name was Amy Gajewski.
Okay.
Yeah, so-
Travis?
Yeah.
Mikey Schleter was probably my oldest friend.
How old were you?
That was elementary school.
Okay.
But going off of that, can you name a lot of your elementary school classmates?
What's a lot?
Like at least a dozen?
Yeah, I can name a
Yeah,
dozen.
isn't so that's a weird thing too, is that like I can remember a lot of names, like full names.
What's
Full names is interesting.
Yeah.
Because I can't remember full names this like today, but as a kid I can
what's
remember.
elementary school? What grades?
It's like kindergarten, usually through 5th
Okay.
Yeah.
or so. Sometimes it goes till 6th, but
Mhm.
Yeah.
do you remember like first and last names of your classmates?
Yeah.
And that's
Steve Schaefer, Pat Owen, Steve Lynn, Emily Kubitz, Susie Rennie, Deborah. What was Deborah Novak? Karen Fossum.
Can you get to 12?
You have to get
we
to
can
12.
go to 10.
10, yeah.
I mean, this already is impressive, so
Juliet Drake. What am I at?
8.
Oh shit. Amy Sprinkle.
Weird last name.
Can't make that stuff up, right?
Right.
And Susan Parsons.
Oh, nice.
And is there any particular reason why those people, or
They just
Synapses or
that 5th grade, 4th and 5th grade, we were just, I don't know, it was a small group and we were really good friends.
oh yeah, I
And-
can name all my best friends and
Yeah.
get to 12 easily because I had a new one every year, pretty much.
Yeah.
Or a new couple every year.
And I've heard about them through the years too, through Emily.
are you picturing their faces when you
Yep.
think of them? Because I can see you
Yep.
looking up, so you're looking at their faces
Yep.
right now. See what I mean?
Okay, as opposed to just,
When are you picturing their faces? Like when in elementary school or in like when they were older in high school?
in elementary school. I picture
Yeah.
where they are when I met them, really. Reshma Sheth. There's another one.
So like a memory of them.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Like I can see their 4th grade face and like Reshma at the pool at Windsor swimming pool. Amy Sprinkle on the softball field.
I'm remembering. Yeah, I remember playgrounds.
Yeah.
I remember my
yeah.
like the Rawson Elementary playground and seeing them at different spots on the playground.
Mm-hmm.
Or I used to walk home with girls like Samantha Sawinski, Leah Jonick. Like I walked home with them, so I remember them as we were walking home. Or like it's interesting.
So do you have? I always like I have the dreams I have the most are of elementary school. It's either like flying around the elementary school, just being there, and then my old childhood home. And I think it's just because like your memory, like those synapses are just like going crazy at a young age. Like
And then-
everything is new, so you're
It's
just
the
taking on
newness,
so
yeah.
much.
The newness, yeah.
And
First,
that's
it's
why
like
kids
an
are
earthquake
so
of the soul. Yeah.
yeah, and that's why
Wow.
kids are so impressionable is because like
Yeah.
they're like building their worldview as it's happening in the young age.
Well,
That's right, Dunkel.
he does this. I don't know. He gets like
Got a
dry.
flair for the drama.
Oh
He
my
does
God.
have that.
That was very enjoyable. Thank you for sharing
Thank
that.
you. He had to. He was naming his high school classmates or
Yeah,
elementary school
1, 2,
classmates.
3, 4. But I think there's probably a first date on there because Steve Lynn. Hope he's not listening to
It
this.
says first love.
First love.
Kiss.
Oh, so this was first like steady relationship. That's the guy I dated for 45 minutes.
Oh, nice.
In
45 minutes.
In 5th grade, he had a crush on me. The word had it that he was going to ask me to go steady. And finally, at the end of the day, he did. And I said yes, and then I bolted. And I went running home.
Was he your first kiss too?
Nope, it was only 45 minutes, so...
You could get a lot of kissing in that time. I don't
Well,
know.
he asked me to go steady, and I said yes and bolted. I went home. My dad was home for some reason early. And I said, Dad, guess what? I have a steady boyfriend. And he started laughing at me. Like, laughing, like, that's ridiculous. Made me feel this big. So I called Steve Lynn up and broke up with him 45 minutes after he asked me to go steady.
Cute.
But I damaged him for good, according to my friend Emily. He's never gotten married. He's never had a girlfriend.
Talk about
he's-
butterfly effect.
so-
Yeah, you ruined his life. For him.
Well, and then
45
Self-confidence completely at
completely
all-time
shattered because
low.
it was so hard for him to ask. And then, but then, like 2 weeks later, after I broke up with him, we were playing dodgeball on the playground, and somehow I turned, and I was, trying to dodge away from the ball, and I bashed this part of my head into his eye, and he got this huge black eye. So then it was like, oh, Mary Albrecht gave you a black eye. Not only did she only date you for 45 minutes, she also beat you up. And so he got, his self-esteem
You
was...
ruined his ego, man.
I ruined his life.
Yeah.
I should call him
she
up.
says with a smile.
I ruined his life. Oops.
So who was your first kiss then?
I don't remember.
It's another one on here. You don't remember? I feel like this is a big one that you would remember.
Yeah.
I can tell you guys mine if you want.
Sure.
Have I told you it before?
I don't think so.
I won't say his name, but he was an openly gay guy at the time. He still is. And he was a good friend of mine. And he, when I was 15, I told him that I had never kissed anyone. He's like, well, I can teach you if you want. So my first kiss was with an openly gay teenage guy.
He's a good
And
friend.
he taught me how to do it. Yeah. Very nice. Yeah, so that was my first kiss. I'll never forget it. It's not exactly as cool as some other people's, but
It's not like you were in love, no.
nope. It wasn't even a guy that was straight or into women. So,
Perfectly safe.
yeah, no, it was good.
Travis, you remember?
Good times. It was in my basement in South Milwaukee.
So romantic too.
Yeah, you've been in that basement, right? It's like dusty and gross.
I don't think I have.
Oh, really?
No, I was in. Yeah,
You might have hung out there when we stopped hanging out in the basement. It got too like moldy and gross. So
Yeah, no, I can remember. I don't remember it.
was yours with an openly lesbian girl or?
No. It was definitely the first. No, it was the second girlfriend I had it because the first one was kind of like one of those.
45 minutes?
Yeah, it was like I asked her out on MySpace
Nice.
or AOL Messenger, and then
Oh.
I told everyone.
Do you remember? Okay, that's a synapse or whatever is AIM
Yep.
messengers because that was like even the sound of like the kunk kunk
Yep.
of someone leaving
Yeah.
or This was like our generation's like first texting was AOL Instant Messenger.
Okay.
Yeah, after school you jump on that.
Yeah, you go on that. Y'all had like quirky usernames and
with lowercase, uppercase,
and you can talk to anyone from your school or whoever on there.
yeah.
That's wild. What was your AOL name before you say the kiss?
Gangsta Car 77.
Quirky names.
Because I was 16, or that was probably around like 15, 16. I had my my dad helped me buy a Roadrunner, like Plymouth Roadrunner. So I was like super proud of it, even though I couldn't drive it yet.
Mine was green PB&J 015. But it looked like green pea banjo, and everyone asked me that if it's what it was. The way that it was spelled out, it looked like green pea banjo.
So everyone thought you had a green pea
Okay,
banjo.
Green pea banjo, yeah.
This guy has to go potty now, so I'm going to exit again. You guys talk amongst yourselves.
We're just talking about memories, yeah. Okay, so who was your first kiss, Travis?
Well, I'm not going to say it, but I remember it.
The age of your first kiss. Let's go with that.
It's probably around 17.
Okay. Oh, that caught. Oh, gosh.
Yeah, it was a little... I never had... Like, I don't remember ever having, like, an elementary or middle school, like, kiss or, peck on the cheek or any of that shit.
Yeah, I didn't do any of that either.
No.
Like, some kids have, like kindergarten boyfriend or something,
Yeah.
and they do their parents make them, like, kiss each other, and I never did any of that.
Nope, didn't do that.
It's kind of weird looking back on it. Like, they're little kids. Like, you don't have to make them into adults just yet, Unless
Yeah.
they're just doing it naturally or whatever. But,
Yeah.
like, you don't want to say,
Yeah.
this is your boyfriend,
Kiss
this
now.
is your girlfriend.
It's like, I don't want an adult telling me to kiss some other kid in front of them and
Right.
have them watch. Fuck. Yeah. Guys, kiss.
Hey, you two. Kiss a
I
little bit.
want to see you kiss.
I want to see you kiss a little, yeah.
Just like that, yeah. So, yeah, it
Mary
is
leaves
creepy.
and this just goes like unhinged. So funny. So then was this person your first love?
Yeah, I would say so, yeah.
Okay. And then was it actual love or was it like
I would say so.
like puppy love of high school or whatever?
No, I definitely felt feelings, and when it got to college, like, college happened, and
It just didn't work out.
no, like, long distance doesn't work or any of that shit, so.
Right. Yeah, my first kiss was not my first love either, as
Yeah.
as if that wasn't clear from him
yeah,
not even being
yeah.
attracted to me.
Yeah.
So I get it. But my second kiss was my first love. So the next person I kissed after that was my high school boyfriend. So, and I think we both know who we like dated in high school too. So
And my second kiss did not care for the person at all.
nice.
She was drunk and it happened. I'm like, what the fuck? That was awful.
Yeah,
That was really wet and like.
I've had some of those.
Yeah.
It was wet and what?
Yeah, definitely. There was like tears in there and shit, and
Oh, that kind of wet.
yeah,
I thought you just meant like there was a lot of saliva or something or.
it was just like just very moist all over. Like, yeah, it was just like what? Ugh.
Did you kiss that person again?
No, I never talked to her again.
All right. That works.
Yeah, there's too much baggage with that one.
I mean, it sounds like it. If the first kiss is a crying one,
Yeah.
that's pretty funny.
Yeah, and it came out of nowhere. I was like, okay, I'll try it. In the moment, I was like, okay, let's do it, and then no.
Right. This one, okay, so this is another question I think is kind of interesting. When was the last time you did something for the first time? You went to Malta. That was the first time, right?
Yeah, but it wasn't a first time like traveling abroad. I would consider that like the category, but
Okay.
last time I did something for the first time.
It's hard, right?
It is.
But I feel like it helps bring up these like synapses or whatever,
Yeah. Probably. It's probably not the last time I did something for the first time. It was definitely significant. I had a ride in a drift car. That was something I would never thought I would ever do in my life.
When was that?
It was probably a few years ago. But that was awesome, significant. Like, yeah, it was a really good time. It was like getting on a roller coaster for the first time.
That's cool.
Yeah, and it just happened. Like, I was just at an event with my brother, and he's like, "You want to?"
He seems like the type that would
Yeah.
initiate that.
You want to
yeah.
sit in there and see what it's like, and it was a complete rush, crazy. And the reason why it was so significant is because your life is in that person's hands, and like I didn't know the person; he was a complete stranger to me. Just offered to drive, and that's when you see like expertise, that like an expert. Like I thought he was an expert driving because I came out of it not dead. So
Yeah.
yeah, but it was just a cool core memory that I have.
For me, this probably isn't the last one, but it's what's coming to my mind is I wrote a book for the first time.
That's a good one.
A few years ago.
Which is something you never thought you'd probably ever do.
There's the book.
Yeah, it's like...
I always had dreams to do it. I always wanted to.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah. I've written like fan fiction.
You never thought it'd be about that, though.
No, I didn't expect to write a book about my family.
Would you think you wanted to write about fiction?
I did
novel.
Like I said, I did some fan fiction when I was a kid. Like I wrote some stories about. I'm really gonna shame myself here, but it was about Green Day, or like I did a One Direction fan fiction, like whatever. I was like super hyper fixated at the time. I even did a Lizzie McGuire episode where I like wrote a whole episode and gave it to my sister, who was the actor, and then she would, I think we tried to act it out or something like that.
Yeah.
But like I always had that kind of interest to create stories, and that's something I still would like to do, and hopefully that's another first for me, is writing a fiction book at some point.
Yeah, I think that'd be awesome.
I would love to do that, and I think I have a decent enough imagination where I can make something out of it. But yeah, so that's my first book.
That reminds me of like before, so not much of like writing, but just like storytelling in my own head. Before I go to sleep, to help me sleep, I created like stories and scenarios in my head.
Oh.
That like, this is so weird that this is coming back now. That like, it's a very strange.
We're really going into deep memories
very
here,
strange thing for I think a child to do, but maybe not. But maybe people just don't talk about it. So I'm gonna mention it, and hopefully people hear it and like say like I do that too. Otherwise, I feel really weird. But I basically like what I took is like the Harry Potter franchise, and I inserted myself into it.
Ooh,
where I was like friends with Harry, Ron, and Hermione, and it was a progressing story. Like,
and you would just sit and think about this, like
before going to bed, and like I got excited to go to bed because like I get to pick up where I left off, and I was like, okay, tonight we're doing this.
Did that affect your dreams at all, or no?
Oh, fairly certain. Yeah, I used to dream about that stuff like really vividly.
Welcome back.
So I just keep exiting the show.
It's still going on.
Oh. Okay. Uh-oh.
I've never heard of that though. Like I've heard of techniques where you do like word association or something to fall asleep, or where you say a word and then you think of another word that's similar to that word, or something like that. But actually creating full stories, I've never done.
Yeah, and it was a story that I think I would read if I were or watch.
Yeah,
if
you just got to put it on paper next time.
Cujo, you guys. Oh, okay. He scares me.
But you love him.
I do.
Mary.
Okay.
This was the last question that we were discussing.
Okay.
When was the last time you did something for the first time?
Oh my gosh. Oh. I mean, are we talking like parachuting or
anything?
I mean,
you can probably even take mine if you want.
What was yours?
It was a few years ago. I wrote a book for the first time.
That's right.
And you did that too.
I did. What a coincidence. And
around the same time, I think.
We started on a podcast. That's pretty huge.
That's another thing.
Podcast, yeah.
Yep. That was a big first. But writing the book, yeah. Being on someone else's podcast, that was good. That was just aired last week, right?
Yep.
Yeah. A couple days ago, actually.
Why are you panting?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking more like, I was trying to think of like, roller coaster or something like that. Like I can think of.
That's like where my mind goes to
or
originally. But
drugs. Like did I do any
when was
kind
the
of?
last time you did drugs for the first time?
I
Tell us more.
I can't remember. I mean, I don't really. I did coke in college once.
What was your favorite drug
In college,
ever?
drug that doesn't include wine or beer.
I mean, depending on who you
I
are.
really did like cocaine. That was fun.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was fun.
Rock on.
Yeah, it was fun. I did that more than once. I think it was
That was kind of big.
once
in
in
your era,
college,
wasn't it?
but then after college, that was our thing, like to party. Yeah,
Wasn't that like a big thing of like the 80s?
Yeah.
Or something like that? Okay.
yeah,
So right when you were in the partying age,
Right.
pretty much,
Yep.
or a little after or something like that.
yeah. Now I would hate it though, because I think it would make me anxious. Coming off of it was terrible.
I mean, it's a very strong stimulant. So
I tried shrooms
do that.
once and I hated it. I had like a weird psychedelic trip. Are they the same now as they were back then?
Yeah, I mean, shrooms are shrooms.
They're
They
just-
haven't changed.
They're just mushrooms, right?
Yep. And usually people that don't enjoy it or have a bad trip are like have a lot of shit going on or a lot of anxiety at the time and
sounds like you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had a really peaceful childhood. I've had a really peaceful life.
That you have no good memories of based on this.
Exactly. It's like, I did remember one person telling me with the whole pandemic thing that one of their students, what do you want to be when you grow up? And the student said vaccinated. Isn't that
Ew.
sad?
yeah,
Yeah, I don't
Just-
like that.
That just sucks.
I'm sure there's
kid.
students that say I just want to grow up.
Yeah, well, right. And especially today's world. Ugh.
Yeah, don't grow up. It's not worth it. Speaking of which, what is the age of which you guys became an adult? The
Huh?
age of which I became an adult was. Because
Well,
I think
like
adult means a lot of things.
Legally or
No,
I think
no,
when
no.
you-
Like your
the
your
perspective.
flag. Like this is when I was like, shit.
Yeah, where
Fuck.
reality sits in.
I can't
where
go back now.
You have more responsibility.
last Thursday at the attorney.
Nice.
I think you were adult before that.
Yeah, you definitely had other stuff before then.
I don't remember.
I think mine was like living on my own.
That'll do it.
Yep, living on my own in or actually not even Madison, just living on my own in the dorms.
I don't think I fully did until it's after my dad died that I feel like I actually had more responsibility and like the weight of.
And you took it on, like you took responsibility for your life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I actually took responsibility in my life was probably 25, 26, where I started to actually like make, like go to work more,
Make an effort to save money.
make an
and
effort to save money,
pay
and
bills on
pay off
time.
debts and
Yeah.
like that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
so.
I'm actively regressing. I hate being an adult.
Stupid fucking
Awful.
bills
I'm
too.
going back to
You know,
like
they come every month.
Well, now I go back to like I feel like doing this today, and that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
and that's like going back to the whole concept of play,
Yep.
where you get to just do what you want again, even if it looks a little different. It might not be as innocent or whatever as a kid, but doing stuff that makes you entertained, I think, is huge.
Yeah. I think there was a year that I had a New Year's resolution that I was gonna say yes to more things,
Oh, like
and
Yes
ever
Man?
since then I just stuck.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
that's a New Year's resolution
Good.
that's never gone away.
Have you
Good.
seen the movie Yes Man?
With
With Jim Carrey?
Jim Carrey, yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's the same concept where he says yes to everything.
Yeah, because otherwise you're always pushing shit off. And,
Right.
Yep.
And then he gets himself
Missing.
into a little trouble, but then it comes back full circle, So
Yeah.
feel good movie.
Yeah.
I need to watch some feel good movies.
You gotta watch
Yes Man's good.
any movies.
I gotta watch.
Let's start with Mean Girls.
Okay. Is that
now
a
that our
is that-
family has talked about it too. I
is
feel
that
like it's-
movie? A
It's
movie?
Yeah.
Okay, I can't remember because there's also a show.
That's Gilmore Girls.
Or no.
Very different vibe.
No, there was a show.
Very different. Same
Called-
era though. I think it's like right around the same
There's
time.
no Mean Girls show. I even know this.
I don't think so.
Who was the girl that lived with like 3 guys?
Oh, that's
New
New
Girl. Okay. I just remember.
and that took me a second, even though it was.
I've
that's
never
one of my
watched it
favorite
either,
shows.
but I just saw it advertised, yeah. So,
Oh, it's one of my favorite shows. It's very good.
okay. So start with Mean Girls, you think?
Okay. Start with Mean Girls because that's a comedy and you're not gonna feel bad. I think after watching it, it's just.
Okay.
But it's old humor, so there's probably
Mm-hmm.
offensive stuff. But it's a time, you know.
Oh, my ears, my virgin ears.
Yeah, you'll like it.
Okay. Is that the one that's like, so you're like really pretty?
You're like really pretty.
That's that one?
Yeah, when she's being fake. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. There's a lot of good quotes from that.
So, are we done? I'm so tired
Yeah.
today. Can't
Before we're done, one more thing I want to bring up is, do you ever think about, so with all these memories that you have, kind of make up who you are, do you ever think about, like, you were just born yesterday and all of those memories are just there?
Made up.
Yeah, and you actually didn't live it?
I'm thinking about it now. I didn't before.
Little existential crisis before we sign off. Like, well, how can you, like, you can't prove that you did live that long.
It's interesting. So that brought
Well, there's
on.
pictures that are dated.
like-
True.
What I'm saying is, like, the simulation just turned on, like, a minute ago. But we have all this memory, like, in our heads that make it... You don't like thinking about that?
No,
It's like the conspiracy theory or like the alternate ending to Harry Potter or something that someone put online where it was like after the whole 7 books and everything, Harry just wakes up under the stairs and realizes it's all a dream.
He was doing what I was doing. He was literally fucking making stories in his head before bed.
I've seen like memes and stuff about that where I'm like, oh, that's terrible. He goes back to
God.
being an abused kid under the stairs
Yeah.
after being like the chosen one and all these like epic adventures and destroying the, Voldemort.
And he tells his
everything.
uncle and aunt, I'm a wizard.
I'm a wizard, and then he's
He's, like,
actually just under the stairs.
He's, like,
and
Throwing
Maybe-
wands and
yeah.
sticks at people and shit.
Maybe we never wrote the book.
Is this real? Sometimes I have moments like that. This is like really strange. I don't know if I've said this out loud, but where I'm like, I look around and I'm like, is this really real right now? Like these
Or-
people in front of me, or
Yeah, how did I get here?
How did I get here?
Yeah.
Like even just people that in my life, and I look at them and they're doing their normal people things, and I'm like, I can't even believe I can't even believe this is real. I don't
Yeah.
know why this happens, but it's super weird when it does.
That feeling's kind of dangerous now too, though, because like I started to call like random people that I never have met before and never will communicate with again. I call them NPCs, which are non-playable characters in video games. That's the term for it. So they're just like computer-generated characters that just walk around in the background.
I've heard that term before.
And it's
yeah.
very dangerous because like now I start like I do things in public that are like obviously I just did this in Malta with my friend Evan and Jessica, where I was just like being very embarrassing in front of like a restaurant, and I didn't really notice it because like I don't give a fuck about any of these people behind me.
Right.
Like they're just not
Because
existent
you'll
in my
never
head.
see 'em again,
Yeah,
you
they're
mean?
just
Yeah.
they're just like they're not anyone.
They're not actually real.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but
Speaking of that, I keep thinking of things. So when I was in Washington, and Maddie will probably appreciate this, we went on our long hikes in this mountain, this one particular hike, we kept seeing these bugs crawl across the path, and they would just kind of crawl across, and then you wouldn't think about them again. And we called them simulation beetles because we're like, this is something in a video game. They literally
Yeah.
like those extra characters that just like walk around and then just crash into a stump. And they just kept showing up, and we're like,
Yeah.
oh, the simulation beetles are back again. Like it's. I don't know why our minds both went there. I wasn't even high. Like it was just funny.
Stimulation.
One of
beetles.
those like friends, memories
Yeah.
or whatever.
yeah.
The other thing that I think is interesting is that you can never really know a person completely because there's so many memories, right? So like even with Terry, after 30 years, he would still come up with things that I hadn't heard about him. You know, because he would all of a sudden remember something. It's not like he was holding it back, but something triggered it, like you
Yeah,
said.
just nuance.
And he would tell a new
parts of
story,
his-
and I'm like, I never knew that, you know? And the same with you, with your, I mean, it hasn't been 30 years with you that I've known you that well, but was playing softball with 18-year-olds?
As a 14-year-old.
As a 14-year-old, and that you had to play for 6 hours. I'm like, see, you know,
practice
so you keep...
for 6 hours. Not games, practice. Yeah.
Okay.
every day. Yeah. Yeah, things just keep coming up.
Right, and I think the more time you spend with somebody, you think you might know everything about them, but people are too complex, especially as you get older. There's so many memories, you know. Now a lot of times they get repeated, but there's definitely new things. Like, you know, what was your favorite color growing up? What did your room look like? You know, because you weren't there, and you could always find out more about somebody, and I find that fascinating. I love asking tons of questions, just pummeling people with questions.
Oh, people are so interesting.
Yeah.
Like they're
They
just if you're ever looking for entertainment, just ask some questions about people's lives, you know.
Yeah,
that
and
you
then it
never
starts to make sense of like who they are today. So maybe that goes back
Oh
to
yeah.
that. Like,
It all plays together.
Yeah,
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
That, like, you know, how did that affect your present, you know, state of being? Speaking
Yeah.
of which, what is your favorite color?
Buddy the Elf, what's your favorite color? Nothing. Okay. Probably, I don't know. It depends on the mood, but usually I say yellow.
You have one?
It used to be blue, but then it turned to orange.
Okay.
Those are
Just,
complementary colors or whatever. Or
I'd say they're opposite.
that's what I meant. Like they're
Oh.
on the color wheel. There's complementary colors that are opposite of the. They're directly opposite on the color wheel, and they usually work well together. Blue and
Huh.
orange are one of them.
Yeah, I'm like
Red and-
orange and black. That's my color scheme. I love that color scheme.
Wildcats. Libertyville. That's my high school colors. So I always think blue too, but I've gotten into Dunkel Red recently. Although today I clashed with him. Sorry.
I love a good like sunset. For the colors in the sunset.
Okay. There's a lot of them.
I'm
Right.
also partial to purple
Purple's good.
because that's a color your brain's completely making up. It's not actually a color pigment.
What
Yeah.
are you talking about? You come up with all this shit all the time.
I'll show you. It's really weird.
Purple's a color?
It's your brain's making that color.
It's on the color wheel.
I'll have to.
It is
send
a
you the-
secondary color, though. It's not a primary color.
It's in the rainbow, red and orange and green and blue, shiny yellow,
It's
purple
still a color.
too.
I agree with the color. But there's a primary, on the color wheel, there's red, blue, and yellow. And those are the primary colors. And then you mix those colors to make other colors.
Well, okay, but what is purple different than green then?
Purple is different
Also a
because
secondary color.
Exactly. That's but
your retina has red, green, and blue color cones.
Oh, we're talking science.
Yeah,
now.
yeah. So those colors
Hated
like,
biology. I'm not good at this.
but between red and blue, your brain actually fills that in with purple. Your brain's making that color.
no, when you put red and blue together, it becomes purple. Not in your brain. Like if you actually took red paint and blue paint and mix it, it would be purple.
I gotta look up the paper again, but it, like the light reflecting off of that into your eye, it's not activating those specific cones. It's actually like a mix of the two cones activating. It's really weird.
But not green. To do blue and yellow, it doesn't happen the same way to
it's
make
not the
green.
same way, no.
He's so full of shit.
All right. Little trivia, pieces of trivia. I know. I don't know why.
Well, purple is supposed to be empowering for your brain because it's the second to the top of the chakras.
I'm gonna look it up while we. I want to prove you.
Are we doing it on the podcast? I don't want him to be right.
Because you're so confident.
Correct.
I mean, everyone's right. Everyone gets a prize.
Yep, that's the day and age we're in.
Yeah. Everyone's a winner here. Don't worry about who's actually right. That doesn't
Now,
matter.
Is this something you're quoting, like some movie
No.
or something?
I'm not.
Oh.
I'm just making fun of
that mindset, I guess.
So the chakras, white is at the top because that represents your supreme being. That's when you're in heaven. You're an angel. You're white. But then after that becomes purple, which is your brain, which is, so when you wear purple, you're stimulating your brain. When you're on purple mats doing yoga, you're stimulating your brain, that whole energy center.
Yeah.
So that's what I say with purple. Did you look it up?
I like yellow because it
Yeah,
looks
I
like
feel
the
like
sun.
it's gonna be one of those confirmation biases though, that like, because I'm looking up that specific question, it's gonna come up with a bunch of stuff. There is no radiation wavelength that carries purple like there are with violet or orange.
Violet is the same.
The sensation.
Now I'm intrigued.
unlike
I've
all
tuned out already.
unlike all of its peers, its color peers, it doesn't correspond to a single type of electromagnetic radiation. It must always be born out of a mix of two colors. Where,
Which is
for
what I was saying with the color wheel.
example, like our brain is perceiving like black, like directly. It's not interpreting black, like, you know what I mean?
How black is like a mix of all the colors, kind of.
There's something specific with purple that like your brain is like making it up for you. It's filling it in, that color in for you.
I'm gonna have to
Sometimes
research
I like
this.
the color green.
But green is blue and yellow mixed.
I'm just saying that I like it.
But red and blue.
Red and blue is
I'll
purple.
study this and we'll get back to you, everybody. Okay. I think I mentioned I'm super tired today,
This is the most important question.
so I'm gonna get my
Yellow's
dog.
a nice color. Green's a nice color. I don't know. Sometimes I like lilac.
What's the difference between violet and purple?
I don't know.
Different shades.
I only know certain trivia. I don't know everything.
Okay, everybody, weigh in on that. All right. Tell us what's the difference between violet and purple.
Maybe tell us your favorite memory in the comments too.
Or earliest memory.
Or earliest memory. Yeah. Yeah.
I always
You got
like
some
hearing that.
options.
Yeah.
Would love to see them. But we'll I think we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
just very tired. Did I mention that?
Not once. Okay. Well, thank you for
Thank you.
listening, watching. We will see you next time.
We have a
Subscribe
guest next time.
to
Yay.
Patreon.
All right. Because I'm a widow.
She's a poor widow.
Feel sorry for me. Please.
I made the Patreon page. So.
So you're
So
right.
feel sorry for him too.
Right. Come on, fuckers.
Yeah, that'll get them. Give me
Thanks.
money, fuckers. Okay, bye. I love you.
Bye.
Bye. I love you. No, you hang up first.